Hello everyone, Coach Carole here with you once more. I'm continuing to revamp my genealogy projects as well as my fantasy writing projects with the Ultimate AI Squad. In this video, I'm going to be talking more about the use of a new tool and a new way of thinking that Chat GPT has released. You may have already seen some of the videos over on YouTube about the introduction of Chat GPT Canvas. Now, this new tool is breaking new grounds, and I'm going to demonstrate for you a couple of ways in which I'm using it. In one of my first prompts, I wanted Chat GPT Canvas to tell me about the art of writing fantasy using Chat GPT Canvas. And it came back with an astonishing article that I could use for my blog post. And I had given it some information about what writing fantasy is all about. So let me first share with you what it looks like on the screen. You're now looking at my screen for Chat GPT 4.0 with Canvas. And yes, I have a subscription to Chat GPT 4. You'll need that if you want to use Canvas. It doesn't come with the free. On the page, you'll see that I have put in place a prompt, a usual kind of a prompt that we would do for ChatGPT or any of the other AI tools. In this case, I wanted it to write a blog article of about 750 words using journalistic style about the art of writing with ChatGPT Canvas in the field of fantasy, which is another genre I like writing about. I wanted it to include references to how artificial intelligence can help with character development, character arcs, character backstory, motivation, goals, and belief system. And at the moment, I'm learning all about character development. So I'm looking for ways in which I can improve my writing. So this is the reason for my use of Chat GPT Canvas. It came back with a document called Fantasy Writing AI. And you'll see it here. It's a separate document, which I can click into. I'll do that in a moment. And below it, a comment. I hope this article captures the essence of using Chat GPT Canvas in crafting memorable fantasy characters and storylines. And you can do the usual thing here of copying it, giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and you can have it read aloud, which is another feature in Chat GPT 4. For the moment, let's look at the document that it created for me. So clicking into the document, I now have that on the right-hand panel, and I can minimize or maximize the size of the panels as I go. On the left-hand panel is the navigation and the prompts that I've put in place. And you'll see here, the next one I've asked it to do is make the title more engaging. And the way you can do that, just copy that piece of text, is over here on the document itself. If you highlight a piece of text, it pops up a new set of editing tools, including bold, italics, and the type of style of heading that you might want. And so you can have all of this happening inside the AI tool itself. Here's where the magic can happen. It also has a prompt here specific to that piece of text that I've highlighted. And if I put that copied piece of text in place here, it will do something to the heading. In this case, we want it to be more engaging. Clicking the Activate tool. You'll see that it has now changed the heading, Mastering Fantasy Writing. And often it will give you a subheading, in this case, Unleashing Creativity with Chat GPT Canvas. But that's not all. You can do the same with some of the paragraphs that it has created. And I've done that in an iterative style over here over the last couple of days. Just scroll back in place here. Well, after making the title more engaging, I then wanted it to pitch the opening paragraph to fantasy writers with flair. Highlight that piece of text. And I come back here and highlight that first paragraph. You'll see that it pops up my ability to use editing tools here and to ask Chat GPT. I'll paste that in. And now I want it to pitch the opening paragraph to fantasy writers with flair, and I can add anything else that I like. And then click the arrow to activate that, and it will think about it, the paragraph, and then we'll rewrite it. And if we are not fond of that particular rendition of the paragraph, we could go back to the previous version. Up here on the right, you'll see previous version, and you'll also see that you can copy. So having the whole document here in a new place after several iterations and conversations, you can then copy the whole thing and place it wherever you want. In this case, it's going to be a blog article. There are some fantastic ways in which Chat GPT Canvas can help you with your writing. Let's go to my side navigation bar here and go to this new one that I've developed today. And it's similar in context. I want another blog article of 750 words in creative style this time, about the art of writing with Chat GPT Canvas in the field of fantasy. And I can also include references on how Chat GPT can gain even more knowledge to help it answer or respond to my request. So in this case, I've said, here's some intel on that, and given it a website to go to and have a look at. In this case, I want it to focus in on the villain or antagonist in my story. And it has given me a document, which you can see below, and given it the title, The Art of Writing Fantasy with ChatGPT, Breathing Life into Villains and Antagonists. And we can go through and make any changes we like and focus in on parts of it and ask it to make changes. Here is where it referenced the site, which is the one that I gave the link to. Then it gives you some pointers about how to elevate characters from mere evildoers to truly formidable antagonists, and gives me backstory brainstorming, understanding motivations, personality and flaws, dialogue crafting, and there's more. Tools of sorcery and how to get the best out of AI. And here it gives me some really great clues. You can start with an archetype and then diverge. For example, begin with a common about that. Just go to where I was. Begin with a common villain archetype, the Dark Lord, the fallen hero, or the corrupt official, and ask Chat GPT to help twist or do something that is a little bit different. So if I take all that, copy it to my clipboard, and then you'll see that it pops up my ability to ask Chat GPT further. I'll put in place a request. So I'm asking it to create a paragraph about a villain, and his name will be Malachar. And this is a time-traveling fantasy. And this is related to the other prompting that I have been doing with Chat GPT-4. So with that in place, I can now activate that. This time it's going through the entire document that it created before. Scroll down. And here is where it's made some changes, where we want to start with an archetype and then diverge. And so what it's done, it's given me here a new paragraph. And it tells me on the left, I've added a paragraph about Malachar, the villain in your time-traveling fantasy, as an example of how to twist a common archetype into something unique. And then let's read what it says here. Malachar, the antagonist in a time-traveling fantasy, began as a brilliant historian obsessed with preserving history. However, his obsession turned into an uncontrollable desire to manipulate the timeline for what he believed was the greater good. It goes on. His frustration with humanity's repeated mistakes drove him to use his knowledge of temporal magic to shape events, no matter the cost. And this piece here, Malachar's motivations are rooted in his tragic belief that only by altering history could he prevent a catastrophe, making him a villain whose actions are both terrifying and, in some ways, heartbreakingly understandable. So now I have fully fleshed out this antagonist in my story with just that simple prompt, where I'm beginning with an archetype villain and diverging and getting Chat GPT Canvas to help me with the process. Once again, I can revert to the previous version if I don't like that one, and I can copy the whole document. So this is a new way to work with ChatGPT, because everything that you ask of it is here on the left-hand side, and everything that it does is here in the document that's created for you. So this is a brilliant way for writers to make the best use of an AI tool, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure that you'll be excited to try it for yourself. Start with something simple and then build on it piece by piece. And you can do that with some of the suggestions that the Canvas comes up with. For example, here, under News Prompts for Special Elements, it suggests, help me develop a tragic backstory for a villain who fears abandonment. And so I could ask it to do exactly that. Copy that in. Slip that in my hand. Do that again. and then ask Chat GPT to develop backstory for Malachi and give it a little bit of context, at least constrain it within 150 words. Right, so we're only dealing with this piece of text in the existing document, and I'm just wanting it to develop a backstory for our antagonist. The arrow to activate. It thinks, it goes through the text that you've asked it to do, and then very quickly, as you can see it working at lightning speed, comes up with a bit of a backstory for our villain. Apparently, he was abandoned as a child by his parents, who were desperate to escape a war-torn kingdom. Apologies for that, but what is also happening is I am able to use my other AI editing tools within the document inside Chat GPT. So anything that's highlighted, I can click for rewrite suggestions. So if it's something in passive voice, I can ask it to change it. Or if it's unable to do that one, but it might have some spelling that I could correct as well. So here is a way in which I could simply rewrite that sentence using the built-in Quillbot, which is this fellow down here. And if I click on it, it will change that sentence immediately. And usually that is done to remove passive voice and make it more active. So now it's only changed that portion of the document. I can then revert to the previous version, or I can copy the whole thing. It is an amazing tool. I think you will be enchanted with Chat GPT 4.0 Canvas. Have a go for yourself.